on 3J, and 3J talks about looking at simultaneous equations with a quadratic, but also a linear relationship. So there's a couple of things that we are going to do here. Now, when we talk about a simultaneous equation, we know it's going to share one y point and it's going to share a x point. But when we're talking about a is quadratic, it could be a tangent line, could only touch at one point. It could have two intercepts, and it could have no intercepts. Let's have a look. Now, first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to use the rule that you've used before of substitution. That means because we both know that this area here is equal to y, which should have been a highlighter, we're going to make them equal. So that means I'm going to say that, oops, that x squared take away 1 is equal to 5 take away x. Now, the next part that we need to do is just solve and get x by itself. So that means I'm going to add x plus x take away 1 is equal to 5. And then I'm going to add, I'm going to take 5 on both sides to get everything onto the left-hand side. So -1 take away 5 is -6, and now it's equal to 0. Now, this is where we're just going to factorize. So I'm going to look for two numbers that time together to equal AC, and AC is -6, and two numbers that add up together to equal 1. So now the numbers that equal 6 is 2 and 3, or 1 and 6, but I know it's going to be 2 and 3 because there's one gap. Now we just need to have one of them as negative to equal -6. So it will be the lowest number, so 2. So -2 plus 3 will then equal 1. So that allows me to write it straight away in a factorized form of x minus 2, x plus 3 is equal to 0. Now, we just need to work out what x need to be for it to equal 0. So x minus 2 is equal to 0, and x plus 3 is equal to 0. That means x must be 2, and x must be -3. That's the first step. Now, the second, we just need to substitute both these answers into one of these equations, and the easiest one would be the linear. So I'll go y is equal to 5 take away 2, and the other one would be y is equal to 5 take away -3, and that gives me 5 take away 2 is 3, and 5 take away -3 is 8. So that gives me 2 real numbers. One is 2 and 3, and the other one is -3 and 8. So if I look at this on the graph, which you can type those both in onto your calculator, and we can see that we've got those 2 points. Likewise, again here, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to make them equal. So that means because they're both just got y by itself, it means that I'm quite able just to rewrite my equations as x squared minus 1 is equal to 3x minus 1 to see what points they share. Again, I need to get everything over to the left-hand side, but this time I will do it in one go. X squared, I take away 3x, I plus 1, so that means -1 plus 1 is 0. Okay. The next step is I will factor out x, so I've got x, and then in brackets, x take away 3 is 0. This one was a bit easier, because straight away it gives me my first answer, and then x minus 3 is equal to 0, so x must be 3. I then substitute them both into one of these equations. Again, I will pick the linear. That means that I've got y equals 3 times 0, take away 1, and y equals 3 times 3, take away 1. That will give me y equals -1 and y is equal to 8. I'll write them as a coordinate, 0 and -1, and then 3 and 8. Oops. Let's double check and look at the graphs, and we can see both of those points. So that's a really easy way of looking at it. Now, so we've got two equations here, y equals x squared minus 5 and y is equal to 1 minus x. So that will give me 1 minus x is equal to x squared minus 5. I'm going to get everything on to my right-hand side. So that will be make it 0. So that means x squared, I'm plusing x to both sides. And then I am taking 1 away. So -5 take away 1 is -6. The next step, the next step is factorizing. So straight away I know 2 times 3 equals AC, which is 6, but it needs to be a negative. But to get it to be a negative, I need to look at B, which is 1. They must add up to 1, so it's going to be -2. Similar to the first one that we did. So again, I'm just going to rewrite it as x minus 2 and x plus 3 is equal to 0. So again, now I've done this part, the next part that I need to do is literally write it as x must equal 2 and x must equal -3. All I'm going to do is substitute these values into my equation now. So I'm going to pick the linear one. So that means I've got y is equal to 1 minus 2. Y must then be -1. So an x is 2, y is -1. And the other question I've got is going to be y is equal to 1 take away -3. So y must equal 4. So I've got -3 and 4 as my 2 points. We'll do a couple more, but it's just going to be very repetitive now. So the next part, same thing that is follows. The first thing I'm going to do is make them equal because y is by itself. So that means I've got x squared plus 5 is equal to 7x take away 9. I will get everything onto the left-hand side. So that means it will be x squared take away 7x plus 9, so 5 plus 9 equals 14. Now, next thing I need to look at the two numbers that times together to equal AC to factorize and two numbers that add up to B. Well, AC is 14, so that means it could be 2 times 7, or it could be 1 and 14. Now, I'm struggling to see a relationship here in terms of for it to add up to be -7. So straight away, I'm just going to stop what I'm doing, erase this part, and I'm going to use a different. So this method will be complete the square. So first thing, actually, I will use the quadratic formula. X is equal to -b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. So I will just substitute everything in now on my left-hand side. So b is -7. So a negative and negative is a positive. So that will be 7 plus or minus. Again, b squared, so squaring it will be 49. So square root 49. Take away 4 times a, which is 1, times 14. 4 times 14 is 56. Now, I'm just going to stop there. Straight away, I can see in the square root, which we call the discriminant, this part here is going to be a negative, which means there is no intercept. So be mindful of that. That is possible to happen. Let's do that last question together. We've got y is equal to x squared minus 5 and y is equal to 3x take away 1. So again, the first thing I'm going to do is look at they both are equal to y, which allows me to then make them equal to each other. So I've got x squared take away 5 is equal to 3x take away 1. The next part is just getting everything to one side. So I will take 3x, I'll add 1 to both sides, so -5 plus 1 is -4. The next step is again, I can factorize, I can look at, if I'm able to, two numbers times together AC, which is -4, and two numbers that add up to -3. So that must be 1 and 4. One of them is going to be a negative though, and that is going to be -4. So I can rewrite that now. X plus 1, x minus 4 is equal to 0. And that gives me two answers. X must equal -1 and x must equal +4. Again, I'm just going to substitute them into the, the linear equation. So y is equal to 3 times -1 take 1, and y is equal to 3 times 4 take away 1. 3 times -1 is -3, take 1 is -4, and last one is 3 times 4 is 12, take away 1 is 11. So that gives me x is -1, -4, and x is 4, y is 11.